Today I'm going to talk about the potential mind-altering benefits of purple potatoes and also the benefits that they may have on your health in general. Hey everybody, Chad Cruiser here with Health and Homestead. I want to start off by talking about what makes the purple coloring in these potatoes. It happens to be the same thing that makes a blueberry blue. Antioxidants called anthocyanins are a pigment that help give blueberries and blue or purple potatoes their nice blue-purple color. A double-blind randomized crossover study was reported in the journal Nutrients looking at the impact of blueberry flavonoids on mental health. They divided the children and young adults into two different groups, and one would have a blueberry drink high in flavonoid, or 250 milligrams of what are called anthocyanins, and the control group would have a similar looking drink without the blueberry flavonoids. At another time, they would switch the drinks to see how it would impact everyone. It turned out that when the young people were consuming the blueberry drink, they had an increase in positive affect. Positive affect is the ability to have positive emotions like joy and being able to focus. Having higher levels of positive affect may lower the chances of having depression. Okay, so we see this in blueberries, but what does this have to do with purple potatoes? Well, there's also anthocyanins in blue potatoes, and the blue-purple potato have similar pigment anthocyanins like those found in blueberries. And a double-blind randomized placebo-controlled study was conducted in the journal Nutrients on an anthocyanin-rich potato called Shadow Queen. And it was head-to-head with a non-purple potato. And they fed each group one potato over the course of 8 weeks and looked at the impact on their mental health. And this is the actual charts and the research. So this is the change in irritability score over the case of 4 and 8 weeks. And so you notice where they began at the beginning, and a normal potato, not much difference in their change in irritability, but you look at the purple potato and a statistically significant decrease in their irritability score, dropping down to change in depression score. So you notice a normal potato, probably not a statistically significant difference. It looks a little worse, but then you look at the purple potato, and once again, a statistically significant lowering in depression scores by simply eating the blue potato. So yes, okay, it does have mind-altering effects in a good way, that it might be able to actually make people happier, just like you see in blueberries. Let's go even further into the impacts on health. Having stiff arteries is obviously a serious risk factor for heart disease in general. And what do these blue potatoes have to do? A study in the journal Plant Foods for Human Nutrition out of the Netherlands reported on the impact of eating 200 grams, approximately 7 ounces of a cooked purple potato variety called Purple Majesty, compared to a white potato. And the different potatoes were eaten for 14 days, and then a washout period was followed by 14 days of the other potato. While eating the purple potato, they had a reduction in arterial stiffness. Phenomenal. But another risk factor is inflammation for heart disease, and research in the journal Nutrients reports on the impact of white, yellow, and purple potatoes on inflammation. It turns out that purple potatoes alone lower levels of inflammation as seen in CRP. And CRP stands for C-reactive protein. This is a marker for inflammation. And eating these purple or blue potatoes evidently actually lowers levels of inflammation in the body. Now, this may be another reason that it may lower levels of depression, and that is because people with lower levels of inflammation in the body typically have lower levels of depression. Research reported in the journal Hypertension reveals that the single greatest predictor of death is having a systolic blood pressure of greater than 115. Now, you may know that the systolic blood pressure is the top number, as seen as 120/80. 120 is the systolic blood pressure in this example. And looking at blood pressure, a study in the Journal of Agriculture and Food Chemistry reported on the consumption of 276 calories daily of Purple Majesty potato in people who were overweight and had high blood pressure. The purple potato consumption lowered their systolic blood pressure by 5 points and their diastolic blood pressure by 4.3 points. Now, you know that typically people say, well, normal is 120/80, which is quite good, but it's not as good as 115, right? And looking at this, so if you had that 120 and you were eating these purple potatoes evidently regularly, this could drop your blood pressure down to that super healthy zone of having a systolic blood pressure of 115. Now, granted, if you're at 130 or 140, it'd still potentially drop 5 points, but there's other things you can do, like regularly eating ground flax seeds can actually make a significant impact also. And the study suggests that one of the components of the purple potatoes that may lower the blood pressure may be something called chlorogenic acids, or CGA. And a study was done looking at the best method of preserving chlorogenic acids, and they tried boiling, baking, and microwaving. And this may surprise you, but the boiling retained 66.4%, baking retained 52.8%, and microwaving retained 82.5%. Now, I know that some of you are angry already. How could this guy say it's good for you? Well, but by the way, I'm not telling you have to eat with a microwave. You can bake, or you can boil, or you can do whatever you want to do, and no pressure with that. Looking at research on blood sugar spike, research in the International Journal of Food Science and Nutrition reports on a study on the impact of yellow potatoes versus purple potatoes on blood sugar and insulin. And the purple potato had a lower spike in both insulin and blood sugar. And they did another study, which is quite interesting. They actually took some of the pigments from the purple potatoes and added it to while people were eating another variety, a non-purple potato, and it actually had a blood sugar lowering impact. So evidently it seems like something about these flavonoids or anthocyanins or these kinds of things seem to actually lower blood sugar. We know this is true from blueberries also. They can help lower blood sugar as you're eating other foods that have carbohydrates. Let's look at the amount of anthocyanins in certain different foods. Well, purple sweet potatoes, we're talking sweet potatoes here, not regular potatoes, may have 500 milligrams per cup. Blueberries have somewhere around 600 milligrams per cup, so not too far off. That's quite good. And depending on the variety of purple potatoes, as far as I was able to tell, a cup may have somewhere of up to over 800 milligrams per cup. Obviously on Health and Homestead, we talk about both health and homestead. And so looking at the research, one of the great things about these purple potatoes is that they're beneficial for your health. But when we talk about homesteading, we're also talking about getting enough calories. It's important both to have nutrition and calories. People are like, oh, calories aren't important. They're a necessity, or else you will starve. Even if you had all the micronutrients and vitamins and minerals, you would starve without calories. And so something like potatoes are a great storage food. They're one of my favorite things to grow. And so trying this at home, you could try this with your family. Even if you have a little backyard like in the city, you could be growing some of these and add to the health and potentially even the happiness of your family. If you would like to help out our channel, check out our Patreon page. We've been told you need to start a Patreon, and so we finally did. You can check that out if you'd like to help us out. And if you like this video, check out our other video on foods to grow in difficult times. Some of the best foods out there, powerful video, great information. You don't want to miss that video. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notifications. God bless and have a fantastic day.